Hello, Eric here again, hoping to make at least some more progress on the Joe's Arcade model. Today, we are going to be looking to model this outlet. Oh, look at that, OBS. Yeah, so this, oh my, what has happened here? This outlet with kind of our 4 plugs here, and there's another one that has 2 vertical that we will try to do as well. So let's just kind of jump into it here. One thing that's going to help me out with this, we've got our usual scratch notes here from when I measured things initially, but fortunately, back when I was in school, I modeled just kind of like a standard 2-prong outlet, so I actually have the outlet faces in a separate SketchUp model. So I'm going to bring these in, no need to reinvent the wheel. And yeah, quite a bit of geometry there, as you can see too. I'm going to bring these in as a starting point. And use those to fill in that gap there, and then I pretty much just need to model the box around the outlet with these already in place. So what I think I'm going to do to approach this is model it in quarters and just model 1/4 of the thing, and then kind of rotate that around so I can save myself a little bit of work. And I'm going to do it probably around this wall here, just as a place to work. So my dimension on the top side, well, it's a 4x4. So since I'm doing quarters, I'm going to do a 2" by 2". And I'll just finish that up here. And then this outer corner, I was figuring had a 1/4" fillet to it. So let's draw a 1/4" circle here. And just take that 1/4 of the arc that I want. Find my 1/4" point here on this, and there we go. I'll pull that out. Okay, so I've got that part here, and I was figuring the plate itself, this little bit of thin metal, was 0.07 inches thick, so pretty thin. And that's just going to be this edge here. One thing that I'm going to skimp on a little bit is these screws. I don't see much of a reason to add screw geometry into this model. Just is a lot of complication and not a whole lot of benefit from doing that. So, okay, now I'm going to look here and go for the thickness. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, and to start it, 3D modeling music for the week is going to be the Optimist by Cory Wong. So I'm going to cue that up here. But anyway, let's see. I'm going to make this a group too while I'm thinking about it so I don't forget. Alright, so this section that that kind of protrudes off it here then is going to come out an additional 0.4 inches, and it's going to have pretty much the same profile as this, except it has a kind of like a reverse radius. And what I mean there will make sense in just a second here. So I've got a kind of reverse cutout circle here with a radius of 0.53 inches. So let's make that circle 0.53. Woo! That looks pretty large, actually. But we'll see how it looks actually drawn in. Get rid of my 3/4 of arc that I don't need. Find my 0.53 point. There we go. You can kind of see what that's going to look like now. Delete that and that. And here is my 0.4 inch extrusion. So you can kind of see what that's looking like. And the other little detail that this thing's got going on, and this is the most complicated part, is there is a 1/10 of an inch, that's just a guesstimate, radius fillet that goes around the entire outer edge here. So let's go ahead and get that in. I'm going to try something here and see if it's going to work. What I need is a circle that is 1/10 of an inch radius, so let's get that. Actually, I'm going to reduce the sides on this thing because it's just not going to need a huge level of detail. Let's go 0.1. Whoop. And then I want to, again, quarter this. But which side? This is where it's going to get a little bit tricky. I want to go this way and this way. Delete that section of it. And I've got to rotate this thing then now. $90 degrees. And there we go. So that's the profile that this thing's going to come along this outer edge with. Now what I want to do is use the follow me tool, which allows you to kind of extrude something along a path. I will be honest, I haven't used a whole ton, so we'll see what happens here as I try that. I'm going to copy this bit of geometry. Let's bring that 3 inches out, and I'll cut it, and I'll paste it just to get it out of the group here. And what I'm really after is these edge lines. And let's see what happens if I do a follow me tool of this face along that edge. Yeah, it doesn't like it very much. Can't say I'm surprised. I think what I need to do is now offset that edge that I created here to be here. And then I think it's going to work. I might have to move it down. Oh, yep, there we go. You can see that edge kind of creating itself here. So hopefully it'll follow all the way around. It can at least follow to here. Come on, SketchUp, I believe in you. I think one thing that might help me see if this is going to actually work is if I move this thing out of the way. I'm going to try this again. Whoop! I just deleted something I definitely didn't want to delete. Hehe, the wall. Gotta remember that I'm not in the middle of nowhere here. Okay. So anyway, here we've got our face. This might just turn into about 10 minutes of me trying to figure out how the follow me tool works. But there, I mean, it's pretty enthusiastically jumping around the corner there. So I think what I'll do is I might accept that. Obviously, can't really see it, but I'm definitely fumbling on the keys a little bit because I was using InfraWorks earlier, which is just another piece of software, and it's got all different hotkeys set up for it. So now I'm trying to get back into SketchUp mode. But I'll follow me along that edge then too. And we'll see what's going to happen here. If I try to bring this point to here and follow me along this arc. Oh, okay, that was weird. And not quite what I wanted. Let's try going the other way. No, don't do that. I want you to go this way. Ha ha! Okay. So that's awesome. But now I'm wondering if I've just figured out how to use that tool effectively. Because what I did there to make that work is I just dragged... Oh no, I've created a monster here. I just held and dragged around the corner. So now, of course, I've got to go backwards and see if I could do it from scratch like that. Because that would be super efficient compared to what I was gearing up to do. And that was going to be manually drawing in that bend around the corners. So let's grab our follow me tool, and it didn't work. Drat. Well, fortunately, undo is a thing, and I can get all this stuff back. Unless I undo too far. And then I have to redo. Alright, I think I've hit the right combination of undos and redos there. Let's get our follow me out again. Come on, I believe in you. SketchUp, do what you just did before again. Tools, follow me. Oh. Alright, I'm maybe losing it here, but I believe that there might still be a way I can pull this off, and it is by holding Control. So I'm going to make a copy so I don't mess up this nice work that I already have, and see if this will work. Didn't even give me really the opportunity there. There we go. Alright, so by holding Control, it's allowing me to go from vertex to vertex and drag this around. And there we go. I knew there was going to be a way to do this. Now I have a nice follow me edge that goes around this whole thing. So, apologies for not obviously knowing what I was doing, but I think I just cracked it. So that tool is not too bad to use, I guess, once you kind of get an idea of what's going on. So I'm going to copy this over here 5 inches, and I'm going to copy this over 5 inches. I don't like to use my originals until I know that it worked, if that makes sense. Alright, if I explode this now, and I've just done an intersect faces with model. Did it work? No, it didn't. So I'm going to try a different approach here. And I'm going to try exploding these things and then doing an intersect faces with model. And now deleting these excess lines that I don't need. Navigating small details in a large model is always a little bit tricky as far as camera work goes. But there I have my nice rounded edges. So without too much trouble, I've kind of got that laid out. Now all I've really got to do is copy this a couple times. But I do have a nice single component here. But while I'm thinking about it, I'm also going to, I think, pull over my my other section of the outlet here. So I'm going to just delete that plate, right? Well, maybe not quite yet, because I want to use it to get the offset of these from the faceplate. So I'm going to just take one of them, and I'm going to move it from here to there. So now my offset should be correct. And these things are spaced 3 inches apart, and they're centered in my whatchamacallit, in the junction box. So if I go from this edge and go 3 inches to there, the midpoint of this is going to be here, the midpoint there. Does that look right? Yeah. They are spaced pretty tight, but it's just not a very big object. So there's where that's going to go horizontally. And now vertically, they are 2.62 from top to bottom. So 2.62. And my midpoint is here. There we go. How does that look? That looks pretty close. I'm going to delete this guy, and that guy. And I think I can go 2.62 and copy this whoop, from here to there. And something is wrong. That's kind of why I wanted to do this and actually copy it there, because it could tell something seemed like it was off. I don't know if I drew that line too long or what. But I'm going to select these and position that where it actually should go here. That looks a little bit closer, I think. And just for the heck of it, I suppose I should check my other one, my other dimension here, which was 3 inches. And I'll copy these guys. But I'll use this edge. That's where they're going to be spaced here. Okay, got it. Don't need this or that anymore. And I'm going to let these just pretty much be sunk in here as they are, I think. Or should I do an intersect face with model and get super detailed with it? I guess I'm not skimping on details in very many other places, so I probably should do that. That's what I'll do. It'll make it a little bit cleaner of a model here. So I'll group that. And you know, I'm pretty much just gonna, what do I want to do here? I want to make some copies of this guy. That's what I want to do. Let's just do that, and let's do 3 of them. I'll do my favorite scale trick to invert this. -1. Come to think of it, I only have to do that. I'll do that one later after I do one of the outlets, but this one I will have to invert right away. So let's put our thingamajig bobber there, our quarter. Let's explode that and get rid of a couple extra lines. Oops. Not extra faces. We need those. And I'm going to go into my layers at this point. And I'm going to turn off walls, just so I can get behind this thing easier. Not going to need that anymore. And I'm not going to need these groups. I will need this though. And I'm going to need a copy of that. So let's do our scale. And paste that in like so. I want to regroup that. And this, actually looking at it, I think it's, yeah, it is a solid piece, but it's just easier to keep track of the model and keep things clean, modeling them as separate pieces is why I'm doing it this way. That may be alright though if I explode that. So I think I will. At this point. Okay, so there we have a cohesive whole. I'm going to delete that face. Not going to want it anyway. Okay. So now we've got this most of the way, actually, because I just basically need to do an intersect here, clean up a couple little straight lines too, but I pretty much just have to do an intersect with the actual outlets, and I'm home free. This must be some leftover junk from my follow me. So let's get that out of the way too. Perfect. Remove that 6 inches. I feel like I pick an arbitrary distance to move everything every time. But you know what, so be it. And I actually wanted to copy these because these I'm going to blow up. Explode. I wonder if I can do an intersect faces with model without No. I was kind of hoping to be able to avoid having to select any of this stuff individually. There we go. Yeah, I'm thinking this might not actually be the way to do this part. There's a lot of faces to deal with here. So I'm going to try a different method. I'm just going to spin around to the back here and kind of go old school, and I'm just going to trace these guys. Which isn't exactly the most exhilarating work, but frankly it's just a little bit easier. And in the end I think it's going to be a little bit faster too. But obviously, as always, if somebody happens to watch this and is shaking their head and going, here's this other way, faster way to do it, definitely let me know. And let's connect that guy up. That should have created a face. Might not have. Somewhere in here, it's not closed. Oh boy. Alright, so I've drawn it not completely in a plane. Oh yeah, okay, this is gonna be tedious. One other idea. And as with many of these ideas, you go, I should have thought of this immediately. Alright, new plan. Delete that and knock myself down to just the back face of this guy, because that is going to give me the face and also the line that I want. What's this line all about? Let's get rid of that. Copy. And I've got to copy a new one of these over because I wasn't smart and I deleted my old one. Make sure I got that in the right spot. And let's do a paste here. I can explode this thing. Okay. Now as long as this intersects properly. Yes! Okay, I've got it. After much trouble, I think I've got this. So I now have isolated faces back here, which is what I was after. So I can grab this guy, pull it back to there, and grab that one and pull it back to there. So I don't have a clash going on anymore. These edges are true edges. Okay. I do want this back face back. Haha, get it? So I'll bring that back. This middle face I don't need. So let's copy this thing, and then we will scale -1. Bring it together, and if all's done correctly, I should be able to delete these couple lines, and I'll have a single object. Here we go. Test of truth. Alright. If I delete the back, nice, clean inside, no extra faces sitting around. This was a very helpful little bit of lines there, but I don't need them anymore. And let's make that into a group. Okay, so home stretch on the modeling for this thing. And that is going to be just creating the back plate here. And what I'm going to do for this is actually just create a rectangle. And this thing is 1.68 inches deep. And then from the pictures, looks like it just slightly protrudes a little bit past the edge of that corner. So obviously I'm not going to worry about the inside of this thing because I'm not going to the point of putting wires you know, or anything in this model, but I am going to kind of just extrude this thing until it looks about right. Does not want me to grab that grip there. There we go. One more side. Come on. There we go. Whoop. Nope, I just put it right back where it was. Is that consistent with what I did over here? Sure looks to be. I've got a 1/16 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch, and a 1/16 of an inch. So yep, I'm going to go ahead and call that good. And that'll be a separate piece. I'll group that, and voila, I've got my 4-pronged outlet here. I'm going to go ahead and give this an anodized aluminum texture. Maybe aluminum will look better. I think the aluminum plane looks a little bit better. And let's go to a color for the outlet. It's kind of this brownish. That looks, I'd say, pretty close. There's one extra bit of texture detail I'm going to add at some point, which will be the circuit numbers, which are written on them. But for the moment, I think I will leave this one here. So the one other thing I want to do before signing off here is I'm going to create a different version that's only 2 outlets, and that one's vertical. 2 vertical outlets, so I'm going to delete that guy and that guy. And then I'm going to come in here, and cross your fingers, delete that, and that actually seemed to work pretty well. I'm astonished. And now I'm going to grab these, grab my midpoint here, and I'll slide them down to the midpoint there. And then I'll grab that and that. And boom. A lot easier than creating it from scratch, that's for sure. I'm going to texture that with what is pretty much just a white. But I think white never quite looks the way you want it to. So I think I'm going to create a new material and call it off-white. And all I'm going to do is, I think, introduce just a little bit of yellow into that. Let's go 240, maybe 245. And I'll hit the outlet with that. That looks a little bit better. It just picks up a little bit of shading and you know, a little bit better, I think. And so there we've got it. Our two varieties of outlets that are used most commonly throughout the room. So next time I'll probably place these around the room and just wing a couple more details in. Anyway, thanks for watching.